Chapter 7, Rashi on the Prophets and Writings, Nevi'im and Ketuvim, Rashi on the Prophets and Writings, Nevi'im and Ketuvim. Rashi's commentary on the prophets, Nevi'im and Writings, Ketuvim, represents a vital extension of his exegetical enterprise beyond the Pentateuch, illustrating how his method adapts to the distinct literary genres, theological emphases, and historical contexts of these scriptural collections. While maintaining the foundational commitment to the Peshat and the measured use of Darash established in his Pentateuchal work, Rashi's glosses on Nevi'im and Ketuvim reveal nuanced shifts in focus and technique that respond to the challenges posed by prophetic or poetic texts. This chapter examines the structural and thematic particularities of Rashi's commentaries on these later sections of the Hebrew Bible, tracing how his linguistic precision, interpretive balance, and intertextual dialogue unfold in new registers and invite readers to engage with a broader and more diverse corpus. Unlike the Pentateuch, where law, narrative, and covenantal themes predominate, the prophets and writings encompass a wider range of literary forms, including oracles, lamentations, wisdom sayings, and historical reflections. Rashi's commentaries here must navigate poetic language, metaphor, and complex theological motifs while remaining faithful to the linguistic and grammatical evidence. His approach continues to foreground the importance of root analysis and syntactic clarity, but is also attentive to the figurative and elusive character of many passages. This sensitivity manifests in glosses that often pause to clarify idioms, resolve ambiguities in verb forms, or explicate culturally specific imagery, thus providing readers with tools to access the layered meanings of these texts without losing sight of their linguistic foundations. In the prophets, Rashi's commentary frequently engages with the tension between historical immediacy and theological universality. His glosses work to elucidate specific historical references and prophetic gestures, while also linking them to broader themes of divine justice, repentance, and redemption that resonate across the canon. For example, in his commentary on Isaiah or Jeremiah, Rashi often clarifies difficult Hebrew constructions or identifies key terms that anchor a prophecy's message in its historical moment. At the same time, he draws interpretive connections to rabbinic traditions that highlight ethical imperatives or eschatological hopes, thus balancing the particular and the universal in his readings. Turning to the writings, Rashi's commentary reflects the diverse literary character of this section, ranging from Psalms and Proverbs to the more narrative books of Chronicles and Ruth. Here, his glosses emphasize the poetic and wisdom tradition's linguistic subtlety, attending to parallelism, repetition, and metaphor. In Psalms, for example, Rashi clarifies the nuances of Hebrew poetic diction and helps readers navigate the shifts in tone and voice that characterize individual psalms. In Proverbs, his glosses explicate proverbial language and ethical instructions, often drawing on linguistic analysis to distinguish literal from figurative senses. This attention to genre-specific features enriches the reader's engagement with the text and underscores Rashi's adaptability as a commentator, attuned to the demands of diverse scriptural forms. Across both Nevi'im and Ketuvim, the intertextual dialogue that characterizes Rashi's method remains a central feature. He frequently cites or alludes to rabbinic sources, midrashim, and earlier commentaries to bolster his readings and situate them within a living tradition of interpretation. This engagement not only reinforces the authority of his glosses, but also models for independent learners how textual meaning emerges from a complex interplay of linguistic evidence, historical context, and communal memory. For independent scholars approaching Rashi's prophets and writings commentaries, a key methodological insight is the necessity of balancing close linguistic reading with an appreciation of literary and theological complexity. The poetic and prophetic genres demand a heightened sensitivity to metaphor, allusion, and nuance that complements the grammatical and lexical rigor emphasized in earlier chapters. Readers are encouraged to apply the disciplined workflow of establishing the peshat through root and syntactic analysis, while remaining open to interpretive expansions that respect the text's figurative dimensions and historical situatedness. This balance exemplifies Rashi's enduring legacy as a commentator who bridges linguistic precision with theological and ethical depth. As this study progresses, the insights gained from Rashi's Pentateuch commentary will be enriched by the broader literary and theological registers encountered in Nevi'im and Ketuvim. The chapter invites readers to reflect on questions such as, how does Rashi's method adapt to the demands of poetic and prophetic language? In what ways do his glosses negotiate the tension between historical particularity and universal message? And how do intertextual references shape interpretive possibilities in these later biblical books? Engaging with these questions prepares independent learners to navigate the complex interplay of language, tradition, and meaning that defines Rashi's commentary and its ongoing scholarly significance. Key takeaways for transferable knowledge and skills. In studying Rashi's commentaries on the prophets and writings, readers should be able to understand how Rashi adapts his linguistic and interpretive methods to the poetic, prophetic, and wisdom genres, balancing grammatical precision with sensitivity to figurative language. Recognize the interplay between historical context and theological themes in Rashi's glosses on Nevi'im, with attention to how linguistic analysis supports this balance. Apply strategies for reading complex literary forms such as parallelism and metaphor in Ketuvim, using root and syntactic analysis as a foundation. Engage with Rashi's intertextual dialogue with rabbinic sources to appreciate how communal memory and tradition shape interpretation. Develop methodological habits for independent study that integrate linguistic rigor with literary and theological awareness across diverse biblical genres,